Morning, all, and welcome back. We're here again for reading, and we don't have much of a slideshow today, which is fine. There's more than one way to make an omelet, they say. We don't need one every time, and besides, it would take away from what we have to get to today. I posted an assignment. It looks very much like this. I point at the screen. It's this. It's called the digital Venn diagram, and we're going to use it to compare and contrast, which is, what's similar and what's different, the two pilots that we've been studying as we read Women in Aviation, which we're going to do for the rest of the week. Now, the reason we're doing this is some of the details are easy to find, and some you have to think harder about. And the harder you think about something that you're reading, the better you understand it. And the quicker you get at understanding things that you're reading, the better off you're going to be because the less you have to read them. Less time, you get more done. So we're going to practice with a couple of Venn diagrams. I know usually they're circles, but we're working digital. It's a new world, right? But we're going to practice with a couple of these. Now, I thought a lot about what we could compare and contrast. I want to make sure with stuff that we all knew about. So this is going to require a little bit of memory. But don't stress too hard because you can definitely use your text when you do the actual assignment today. But here's a practice one. This is going to compare and contrast Icarus and Arachne. Naturally, we use these spaces. What is something that is only a fact about Icarus? Over here, what is only a fact about Arachne? And then right here, what do they have in common? Here in this middle one. So, difference on these outside ones, and what is the same about them in the middle? I had notes for myself, and I shall use of those. Now, what do we know about Icarus and Arachne that is unique to either of those characters? Well, we do know that Icarus was a young boy, and he didn't listen to his father very much. But what was completely different about Arachne, she was a grown woman. Remember, she worked and made what was it, cloth and weavings in this village, and she sold them. So she's a grown woman holding down a job. Icarus is a young boy waiting for his father to do everything for him. What else I think? Oh yeah. What about them? Well, what was Arachne? She was oopsie daisy. Where? There we go. Expert weaver. That's what she did. That's what we know about her. But what was Icarus? What did Icarus do with his time? And this is a good way to find contrasts. If you find something about one character, what was the other character that was different? And what was Icarus? She was an expert weaver. Icarus was a prisoner. That's what they both did with their time. And what do we know about Arachne? What did she do while she was expert weaving? It got her into trouble. She challenged literally to a contest. She spoke right to the goddess's face. Icarus, on the other hand, he flat out didn't listen to his father. Did what he wanted, and oh boy, we know what happened then. Shame. So these are things that are completely opposite about them. She actually had work. He was just a prisoner on an island. She challenged a god to his face. He just kind of didn't listen to his father, did what he wanted. Now, the thinky business comes in where they're really similar. Well, I think one is really obvious. They're both characters in ancient Greece. Somewhere in Greece, I believe they said Arachne was from an obscure village, and that Icarus, it was a little island that's a part of Greece, but they're both in ancient Greece, because ancient Greeks told the stories as a long time ago, so we're talking ancient, but that's where both these characters were. What else? What happened to both of them by the end of it? Well, remember, Arachne got turned into a spider, and Icarus fell down to the sea because they were both punished by God. They did something they shouldn't have done, so they were both punished. They were punished in different ways, Well, at the end of the day, they both paid a price for not obeying. And at the end of the day, why did that happen? Because neither of them don't listen to others. Remember, with Arachne, all the villagers told her, "Don't do it, don't do it." Her father said, "Don't do it, don't do it." Arachne said, "I'm going to do it," and she did, and now we have arachnids. Icarus, well, he didn't outright say he wasn't going to do anything, but his father said, "Don't fly too high, don't fly too high, don't fly too high." And then he did fly too high, and Apollo the sun god says, "I shall melt of your wings." And there you go. Neither one of them listened to others. Let's give one more try before I set you off on your own. This is going to require a little more memory because it's from the first story we read, Scoot from Rogue Wave, and Tucker from Big Things Come in Small Packages. And I find this easier. Again, when we're finding the differences, what we can do is if we name something about one character, what is opposite or different about that one? Well, we know Scoot is a girl. Well, it can't be a lot more different because Tucker is a boy. Now, what did they do with their time? What was Scoot? Okay, she was a girl, but she wasn't just sitting there. She was a sailor trainee. So she was trained to be a sailor. What did Tucker do with his time? Well, he wasn't out trained to do anything, but he was a surfer. He liked to go out, surfer, and a swimmer. He liked to surf and swim out on the ocean. What was Scoot's problem? Frankly, she was trapped under a capsized boat. What was Tucker's problem? Completely different. He wasn't in any physical danger. Scoot was her life was actually in danger. It was her big problem. Tucker, it's a problem, but not life threatening. Always names for being short. There you go. These are very different things. We have different genders. They both do different things with their time, and they both had very different problems. However, they have some similarities. Think of this. What is similar about them? Scoot is trained to be a sailor. She loves sailing, loves being on the water. Tucker loves to surf and loves to swim. So, what does it say about both of them? What could they both love? They both love the ocean. They can swim a lot of places, but surfing, gotta have that ocean. And she was out in the Pacific, so they both loved the ocean. Well, I believe the story mentioned if she's still learning, and she just turned 14, they said Tucker was about 12 and went to the same school as his would be girlfriend. So, what's that say about the age of both of them? They're roughly your age. So, how's that similar? They're both school age children. They're not adults, both that age where they need to be in school. Now, a third one. Let's think. We know Scoot was trapped in the old Sea Dog while it was slowly sinking. She was running out of air. Remember toward the end when Tucker tried to rescue Mr. Nibbles? It was a storm at sea and he fell off the surfboard. So they both nearly drowned at sea. Very nearly happened to both of them. They both got in some trouble and some danger. Now, your assignment, and that's basically how that works. These sides, what is unique to that character and that character only, and in the middle, that's where you got to think quite a bit. These can be pretty easy to look up. These middle parts, you definitely have to think about. I'm sure you can because we have some practice before you move on to the one we have for women in aviation. You have an activity I sent you a hyperlink for. Because you're going to review your knowledge of Bessie Coleman and Harriet Quimby. You don't have to try and remember so much. We had to do that with these first two because we read those a while ago. This one we just recently read, and you can certainly use the text, and doing this activity will help you do that as well. So you're going to start down here. You can pick different speeds. We'll go with slow so we know what we're looking at. What happens is it gives you your first question. First, learn to fly by piloting a hot air balloon. And then we have, get out of your way here. We have Harriet Quimby, Bessie Coleman, both or neither. And which one of those? Oh, I ran out of time. You're going to have a time limit. So no points there. Now, here's what I want you to see. Everyone's questions are going to be in different order, but I want you to see this. You see right up there? Remember, your time isn't going to start ticking. You're not going to see your balloons until you press play and show that you're ready. You can use your text. Became famous by putting on flying exhibitions in the United States. You can jump there and find your right answer, or if you remember it, that's good too. Remembering or being able to find it in your reading, those both work equally well. So let's see. I know the answer here. That is a both. Let's pop our balloon. 150 points. That's both of them. So that's something you would probably put in the middle of your Venn diagram. But you want to finish this activity first. It's 15 questions. Let's see what's next. The first woman in the world to earn her pilot's license. Bessie Coleman, Harriet Quimby, neither or both? Neither. Look it up, you can find the answer to that one. Again, you can look up this answer if you want, or you can remember it. And the clock is ticking, but I'm not going to answer this one. That's up to you. Boink. So, when you're done, I'd like you to remember your score so you can put it on your assignment and have at it. In fact, what I'm going to do right this second is add what was your score. Fill that in right there. And then do as you'd like. Whatever you remember or need to look up, either one is fine to fill out today's Venn diagram for women in aviation. And I don't have a meme for you today, but you know you got this.